Hey everybody, welcome to Maddie's Messy Desk. I wanted to do things a little different this month and try to do a little FaceTime before I flip the camera over and do my flip through. I'm trying to keep my videos engaging and just trying to make sure that you guys are enjoying them, so hopefully a little bit of change of pace is something you guys are all okay with. Today I'm going to be doing a flip through of my July pages in my memory keeping journal. If you're thinking to yourself, I've never seen this journal from you before, Maddie, well, it is normally the journal that I have in my red leather cover, but because of how chunky it's getting, I'm starting to have to flip the pages so that I can journal a little bit easier. So we're kind of at the point in the year where I have to take it out of the leather journal permanently so that I can work in it and not be constantly finagling with it. So this is my Rosy Life planner, and this is what I use for my daily memory keeping for my family. One of my favorite things to do, and I love showing you guys all of my pages. Something else I'm going to be trying to do while I'm doing my flip through is put some photos up on the screen that will hopefully help show you kind of what the day looked like and how that translates onto my pages. I just really want to make these videos engaging and interesting for you guys, and so I was thinking to myself, it's probably pretty boring to just watch me and my hands the entire time, so how can I make it a little bit more interesting for all of you? So that's why I'm doing a little FaceTime today. That's why I'm going to add some photos as I'm doing my flip through. July was a super fun month. We were traveling at the beginning of the year, and then we spent a lot of time as a family throughout the rest of the month. I challenged myself quite a bit in the month of July to use less photos. I'm working on my cursive handwriting and just a few other things. So you'll start to see my pages look a little bit different. Nothing too crazy, but a little bit different than what I normally do from month to month. So I think it's really good to continue to challenge myself and try new things in my journal. While I love the comfort of doing things that I know and things that I'm good at, I also really enjoy being challenged creatively. I just think it's such a good way to use your brain. And since this is for play and fun, how can I keep making it more fun and more engaging? So I will talk about all of that as I'm kind of doing my flip through as well. I just wanted to give a little introduction before we get started. So without further ado, I will flip the camera over and we will get started. Thanks for being here. And if you're not already subscribed, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos. So you would have seen this page on my June flip through because I already had this cover page done. I've spoken about this before, but for the beginning of each month, there is a blank page in this planner. So I have been using stickers from my Cocoa Daisy subscription kits to kind of decorate the beginning of the month. And so the theme was nautical, lighthouse, aquatic for July. So that is what this is. We started the month off on a trip to visit my parents at their lake house. So this was kind of the end of the trip leading into the 4th of July. So we were traveling at the beginning of the month. I'm actually really surprised with myself. I did bring this with me and I actually journaled in real time while we were gone, which is not something that I typically do. I'm very much a person who likes to be at my desk and have all of my things, all of my supplies. But since we were gone for over a week, the thought of coming home and having over a week of pages to do was feeling really overwhelming. And also in this journal, I'm really trying to capture little moments, funny things, random stuff that if I were just to go flip through my photos, when we got home and try to journal these pages, I wouldn't probably remember those things unless I was keeping updates in my notes on my phone. With that being said, I really wanted to have this with me so that I could remember stuff and get it all down on paper while we were there in the moment. I brought my Canon Ivy printer with me, so I did have some pages that have photos on them. However, you'll start to see later in the month, I really am challenging myself to not rely so heavily on photos. While I love photos and including them in these pages, especially with my kids because they're young and they're changing constantly, since I do the photo a day in my monthly spreads, I have a picture from every single day for the entire year. So I'm just thinking to myself, is there a way that I can kind of scale back on the photos on these pages? Now, that's not to say I'm going to keep doing that moving forward. It was just kind of a challenge for me for the month of July. It was okay, how many pages can I do and not use photos? So I just kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there. But anyway, day one, I always like to do my Receiptify, which if you have Spotify, which is music listening, you can connect Receiptify to it and it will pull all of the top songs that you played for that month. I love doing this because it's a mix of my music and my kids' music. So I will, and if there's anything of note, I like to include that. In the month of June, there was a huge trend on TikTok of people using I'm a Bee from Black Eyed Peas to make day in the life videos for themselves, and that was the song that always played in it. So it was stuck in my head constantly. And when a song is stuck in my head, I have to play it to get it like out of my head. So it actually ended up being my number one song played in the month of June, which is kind of funny. Song number 2 is my 3-year-old's favorite song, which is hilarious. Like if you've ever heard the song, you're going to be like, what kind of music do you have your kids listening to? But he loves it. And so we play it because I am all about exposing my kids to all sorts of different music. I think it's just a really cool way to learn about the world, kind of have like self-expression in the music that you choose to listen to and stuff. So anyway, I just like to encourage that. And then surprisingly, the rest of the songs for the month were me. I think I wrote a note that I think that there was a lot of Taylor Swift because there was news that she finally got like the rights to all of her music, so she doesn't have to make any more of like Taylor version albums. And so I was kind of like, okay. So then I guess I was just like listening to her more, probably because she was on my mind with that news coming out. I took up a big chunk of the beginning of the day, and then I just filled the rest of the day. So when we go to my parents', it's pretty much like every day is kind of the same. You know, it's like when you go on vacation, you kind of like get into your routine. So it's like we go to the pool, and then we go tubing, we go on the lake, and that's kind of the day. So I was trying to find ways to fill up the pages and talk about, you know, what we were doing. The nice thing is, since where my parents live was back really close to where we used to live, and we moved across the state. So pretty much every day we were there, we had people coming to visit us, which was so nice because we've always been the family that is driving to other people and visiting with other people. So for everyone to be coming to us at the lake house, it was like such a nice change of pace to not be the ones like constantly in our car driving around. I really like to include little pieces of ephemera. I have my junk journal, but I do like to try to incorporate every once in a while if there's something that I could add into these pages. Like I was really craving tea while we were on the trip, and this was what my mom had in the cabinet. So I figured I would just hold on to the tea wrapper. I was really doing a lot more like journaling during these days just because the days were so repetitive. So I was like I was just trying to like talk about things that were going on that were outside of like what we were just doing that day. Because I find that a lot of times on these pages, I'm just like writing what we're doing. And so I'm trying to like also get away from that a little bit more and like give a little more in depth to stuff. So I think these will be like some of the last few photos from the month. But I did want to show this because I went on a hike by myself. So we used to live over in this area, and I really wanted to get on a hike that I used to love. And there's like this little swimming hole. So I had my camera and my tripod, and I got this photo of me. I took a few more too, but this was so much fun. And I used to go hiking by myself all the time before kids. And it's not often I get to do it anymore. So when there are chances, I really try to like take the opportunity to go and do it. Since we had my parents there and my husband was obviously there, I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to go do this hike by myself. And it was so lovely. When there's moments like this and I feel like I want to reflect more about how I was feeling in that moment, I do use a diary where like it's just traditional long form journaling. And that's where a lot of those kind of thoughts go. So if you're ever wondering like why I don't really talk much about like how I'm feeling about things, I kind of have that separated. Because my intent and my goal with these, at least for now, is that these are journals that like my kids will be able to like flip through these and see their childhood every single day and like look back on like what we were doing. So if I'm feeling like emotional and feel like I need to get some thoughts out, I realize like this isn't the place to do that because I don't want them to like have to read all of that stuff. You know what I mean? This is really supposed to be something for our whole family to like have and enjoy in the years to come. So just wanted to give a little bit of insight on that because oftentimes I don't do really like my feelings in here, and it is more just like what was going on that day and things like that. So I have a place for all of that to go, and I really like being able to kind of separate those things so that this is something and also I can share this with you guys. I don't feel like I have, super deep thoughts in here, so I feel comfortable sharing these kind of pages with you guys. Anyway, I'm really going off on tangents today. I'm sorry. On our way home, we actually stopped in the city that we used to live in. As you can see, it was a very busy day, and I listed out every single stop we did because we had one day to kind of see everybody we wanted to see, which it was a lot. It was like pretty overwhelming. And I will say, I wish we had had maybe a day or two so that we could have enjoyed more time with everybody. But I am grateful for how many people we did get to see in the short amount of time. So I kind of just described everywhere we stopped and all the people that we got to see. It was so lovely, and it was just like everything I needed. I felt so happy to see all of our like friends and family that we haven't seen in a few months. This was a day that we drove home, but we did get to stop and see one more set of people that we wanted to see before we left. And yeah, here I kind of just wrote about how I was feeling so grateful that we got to see so many people and that everybody made time for us, because it was the weekend. You know, people are busy in the summer. So for everyone to take time out of their weekend to make sure they saw us, it meant a lot to me. And I was just like feeling very happy about that. The days we get home from trips, I feel like we don't do a lot. It's a lot of like chilling. Everybody just wants to like relax. And then I'm able to get everything unpacked, kind of get laundry started. And oh, this is so cute. Okay, so I love doing this for my kids on their birthdays. I really like to make a wish list for them for like all the things that they want to do on their birthday. So we sat down with, he was 5, he just turned 6, and we wrote down everything that he wanted to accomplish on his birthday. And this is the full list. So I took a picture of him with the list. So that's kind of what that is. If you've watched my flip throughs for any amount of time, you've probably seen these so many times. I like to keep writing updates about how the boys are doing in their swim lessons. When we moved here in November, I started them in swim lessons. They hadn't really had lessons prior to that, but they both love swimming. They love the pool. They love water. And I'm like, we have to get these kids to learn how to swim, but we don't have access to a pool. So we don't have a backyard pool. We're not members to a pool anywhere. So really the only time they're getting swim time is during these lessons. And then when we go to my parents' lake house, they obviously have a pool. There's a community pool, and then we swim in the lake. Well, they're wearing life jackets when we go to the lake, but when they go to the pool, they want to swim. And oftentimes I stay back with our baby, and it's my husband with the bigs. And so it's just been a goal of ours to like get them to learn how to swim. So I like to kind of track their progress constantly. And then I had my sitter over, so I just kind of wrote about some stuff that I was able to get done while she was here. I really want to start doing some more doodles, and this is actually a photo I took of myself. I definitely made my head a little too small here, but I really like doing this like format, and that's kind of what I was doing in my Hobonichi A6 at the beginning of the year. If you guys remember, I was doing a doodle a day, and it got a little tiresome for me, like doing it in here. But I was like, maybe I could incorporate it into the memory keeping pages, because it was just a lot to keep up with a couple of like daily journals. Like that's just too much for me. It was overwhelming. So I'm like, if I could start doing more of this, I think it would be fun. And it also would supplement the photos that I'm trying to like use less of. So I could like try to recreate photos I took in a journal. So anyway, obviously see the color theme here. I was trying to match this new swim dress that I got, which is super comfortable. I've never had a swim dress before, but big fan of it. It's very cute and very comfortable. And I had this washi tape that kind of matched. So then I just kind of like ran with it for the rest of the pages. And yeah, this was like a day. Clearly we didn't do too much. I was really getting ready for my son's birthday for the next day. So I had a lot that I was trying to get done. And July 11th was my son's birthday. So I wrote about our day and everything that we did. And of course I had to include a picture of him, even though, you know, I'm trying to cut down on photos. And here's the list I took that picture of. This was the actual list, and we checked everything off. I'm so surprised. There was one thing we didn't get to do, but he agreed that we could do it a different day just because it's an amusement park and it would have taken up like the entire day. So we wouldn't have really been able to check anything else off of his list. And this was something that I saw on TikTok, which I thought was really cool. It's like this little, let's see if I can get it here. I had some very emotional thoughts. Just my kids' birthdays. I always get super emotional. And she did this little tutorial on like how you make this kind of hidden message. So I just used a scrapbook paper, and inside is, I'm not going to show it because it's emotional things that I didn't want on the page here. And I wrote everything, and then you just slide it in, and I just taped it, or I just glued it onto the checklist. And this was a birthday card from one of his grandparents, so I held on to that. And the rest of his birthday stuff went into my creative journal. I kind of kept all of his birthday cards in there. It's just he had a lot, so I was trying to find ways to like keep everything together. I actually really liked doing this. So when I was watching Amy on Paper People, which if you're not subscribed to Amy and you don't watch Paper People, I would highly recommend checking out her page, subscribing to her. She interviews people in the stationery community, and it's just always really enjoyable. It feels like you're just hanging out with friends. I just always I've really enjoyed every episode. All of the guests she's had on have been amazing. So during one of the episodes, I think it was with Journal as Alter, and they were talking about like who am I right now, and like really capturing like every detail about who you are, because that's something that kind of gets left off of pages often, because you're kind of just documenting the days and you're not really documenting like, what was I wearing? What's in my purse? Those kind of things. And I was like, I love that. So I did a spread in my A6 about that. And I thought, how perfect to do this for my kids on their birthdays. Just describe everything about who they are and like the things they're interested in, what they're wearing, how they're dressing themselves, all those sorts of things. And I captured all of that here, and I just thought it was so cool. And I'm really hoping to try to keep up with that through the years especially on their birthday. I feel like that's just like a good marker of time, and every year they change so much. So that's what I wrote in here. Here's where we get into the more cursive. I really am liking how this is looking. I haven't written in cursive in so long, so I've had to write really, really slow because I make a lot of mistakes when I'm writing in cursive. Like you can kind of see I made a little mistake there. And it's been really fun, and I like how it kind of adds a new visual element to my pages because I just haven't really been writing in cursive. We had a really nice family day. We went for a hike and we went and got ice cream. It was just really fun. And I have these little Post-its from Yellow Paper House, I think. And I kind of forgot about them and I found them. So I was using them treated them kind of as Post-its to just talk about different things that we did during the day at home. Yeah, here's really where I'm getting into the cursive. You could see like almost the entire thing is written in cursive. And I love my washi on the borders here. And these ones I felt like kind of complemented each other. So swim update, I wrote a little bit about my wrist. Thankfully, I almost have my full range of motion back. It's been a bit of a process, but we're getting there. I'm probably going to have to go to physical therapy, but I will if it means I can get full range of motion back. And I finally did a Peloton ride. I haven't ridden our Peloton in so long, and I went to Switzerland, and it was very lovely. It was very scenic, and I really enjoyed it. I want to do more of like the scenic rides because I kind of get sick of the instructors. I mean, it's nice, and don't get me wrong, like they have great instructors, but there's something just about riding through places I've never been in my life. It was just really cool. It was a fun experience. I tried a new recipe, and anytime I do that, I like to just kind of jot it down and kind of mark it. Something I've also been doing a little bit more of is having the two pages look a little more cohesive and kind of have them go together. Whereas in the past, I haven't done that a whole lot, but again, just trying different things, just challenging myself, just trying to see, have things be a little different and unique. So this is where I started my new journal. I finished my last creative junk journal, and if you would like to see that, I did do a whole flip through of that journal. So I will add a link. So if you want to check that out after this video, you're more than welcome to. And so I did a selfie with my journal, and then I printed a little cutout of it just to commemorate. I always like to commemorate when I'm starting a new journal. Oh, this was cute. And I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't add a photo in here, but I'm actually going to probably just include it in the month a day photos. But we went out to dinner, and we just happened upon Spidey and his friends. And so it was really fun. My kids were super excited to see them, especially because we had like no idea they were going to be there. And so we have a really cute picture of them with Spidey and friends, which was really nice. Here's another effort of me trying to not use photos. So I just drew a little kind of like plaid looking background, just trying to keep it really simple because I wanted to write and I didn't want it to be super busy. And so, yeah, I just kind of wrote about our day here and nothing crazy, but I like that I'm adding some different kind of, elements to my pages. I had a really hard week. My husband was also out of town, so I was solo with the kids, and it was just like, it's just tough. It's very tough. So anyway, it was really sweet. My son, he kind of knew I was having a hard time. And when we were in the car the one day, he drew this picture of us and he gave it to me. He said he wanted to cheer me up, and I just thought that was the cutest thing ever. So of course I asked him if I could put this in my journal, and he was very excited that I was going to do that. It really made me smile. And I feel like this is really one of the very few pages in my journal that I actually didn't journal about the day at all. I got these new pens and I was really excited, and I wanted to see how they performed on the Tomoe River paper. So I used each color and wrote this down. And then as I was like putting those pens away, I found my Sharpie creative markers, completely forgot that I had those. And so I did a swatch test because I also wanted to see how those looked on the Tomoe River paper. So this is very unusual for me. Like, as you guys know, I love to just document our days, and I really don't, like, usually I do this in a different place, but I don't know what was going on. I just didn't feel like journaling, I guess. And so I just kind of used that as like a pen test, marker test page. Then I was experimenting with said pens. So they are, here, let me see if I think they're, these are the ones that I got. And they're just like really fun colors. They're the Matte Hop from Pentel. And so I wanted to just play around with those. So this is a very different style than what I normally do. They're 1.0 millimeter, which is not a pen size that I ever use. So I just wanted to see like what I could do with them and if I liked them. And I had a lot of fun putting these pages together. Again, trying to keep some symmetry on the pages. My in-laws came to visit, and so we were kind of just getting ready for them on Friday. And then Saturday, oh my God, the humidity here has been just absolutely unbearable. And so we've been trying to do things outside that are like, you know, not going to be super miserable for the kids. And so we found this really cool splash pad. I'll put a photo up. I think I took one. And then I just tried to recreate, like, this isn't what it looked like, but I just Googled, you know, a pirate ship doodle and used that because the splash pad was a pirate ship and the kids were super excited about it. But then of course it thundered and they had to turn off the splash pad, which was such a bummer. But thankfully they had like a stand there where we could get popsicles and ice cream. So we got that, cooled down, and then we just played in the backyard the rest of the day. But yeah, it's been super hot here, so getting outside has been really, really tough. Sunday, I had my friend's baby shower in Columbus. So again, I just kind of made a fun pattern in the background and wrote that that's what I was doing. I made another spread in my creative journal of like the day itself. And then I was just playing with the creative Sharpie markers. I've never done a page like this, which is so interesting, but I was like, I'm just going to write big and like write about the day. So it kind of like complemented this page. So I just wrote a lot bigger than I normally do, and it filled up the page. And I really like how this looks. I think it's kind of a really cool, they kind of bounce off of each other. So it's just been really fun this month. I really experimented a lot in here and I really enjoyed it. It's been really fun. Now these pages obviously look more like what I normally do. Again, we have a swim update. My in-laws got my sons these like Hulk smash. I'll put a picture if I can find one of these. Like, they're really soft, but they're big Hulk hands, and then you just like slip your hands in, and then you obviously like you can punch people with them, but they're super, super soft. The kids have just been having the best time ever with these Hulk hands. It's just been so funny. And even like my 1-year-old got, like, one day he got them on and was like running around like yelling with them. It was so funny. We were all just like laughing so hard. Then we did another splash pad because it's still been very hot. These markers, I actually, I was sitting outside with the kids and I didn't want to bring like tons of supplies out. So I had a couple mild liners in my bag. So these markers are actually mild liners, which I don't normally use the mild liners as like writing. I usually just use the highlighter side, you know, like the chiseled side of the highlighter. But I wrote all of these words with the mild liners and I really like these colors. I feel like they're like this green. I love this shade of green. So I just like really used as much of it as I could here. And here's the last day in July. Oh, this was really sweet. We were on a walk and my son found a dandelion. There was just one. And so he let everybody in the family make a wish and blow out part of the dandelion. And it was just really sweet. And I wanted to remember that. So I just kind of captured that here. And oh, I still need to put a picture here because I did it. I let my kids face paint each other, which was also just absolutely hilarious. And I have some really funny photos. So I drew this arrow because I want to put pictures of both of them with their beautiful face paintings on. And that's it. That's all I've got for July in here, and then you can see my August page is already done thanks to Cocoa Daisy's subscription. I really love all of the floral and butterfly stuff, so I had a lot of fun putting this monthly page together. Before we leave, I will go through my new creative journal and just show you some spreads that I've done. I've been having so much fun in here. I didn't realize how much I loved the A5 size until I came back to this after being in a B5, which is much bigger. Around, I always like to change what journal I'm using in my creative journal. Like I just grab whatever's on my shelf. So this is a Leuchtturm1917 and it's an A5, but it's a soft cover. So I've never done an A5 soft cover before. I've only used the hard covers, and in the past, these bulk up a lot. And so like the spine was getting really close to cracking. So I think this will work really well with it being a soft cover. So excited to see like how it bulks up. Made my cover page, took my photo. I just had this like fun paper from some magazine I have. I don't even remember. I think it's one of those Flow magazines. And I just loved, I'm trying to like be more silly in my life. And so I just loved these animals that are listening to music and dancing and having a party. And so I was like, this really fits what I want this journal to be. It's just like a fun, silly place for me to be creative. And actually, I never use this table of contents, but I'm testing it out this year. So or not this year, I guess, for this journal. So I'm going to actually document what each page is and like write the page number. I don't know, because I don't know how like helpful that'll be, but I just think it'll be fun to like see it all filled out. So we're doing that for this year. I always keep my first real entry about me to keep it like low key, an easy entry point, because like blank pages are hard. Starting a new journal is hard. So how can I make it easier on myself? I can make an about me. And so this time I did it a lot differently than what I did last time. I did a lot more things. And it's just like all of my favorites at this moment. So I wrote everything that is like a current favorite right now for me. And then while I was making this page, I also wrote like at this exact moment, like what am I doing? And I just thought that was cool because again, with the like trying to capture who you are in the moments of your journals, I want to get real specific about this. So these kind of pages really capture that, I think. I like to write a letter to myself. So when I finish the journal, I read this and see like what I was hoping I could do with this journal, like where my headspace was at. And I have really enjoyed this practice. I think it's really cool and fun to like write to your future self, especially when it's not like in 5 years. It's like, no, I'm going to probably read this in 6 months. And even just within 6 months to see how much I've changed or grown or like whatever the case may be. So fun. Highly recommend doing that. And I happened to start this journal in July, and so I thought it would be a good time to do a mid-year favorites of all of the books I've been reading. So I don't really like to go by star rating. I feel like star rating is super subjective, as is reading in general, but I like to do kind of categories versus being like, these are my 5-star reads. Like this is a book that made me cry. This was a book that was unexpected, like really surprised me. This book was super eye-opening, and this is a book that I've been recommending to other people. So far in this year, this has been my favorite book that I've read. So that's how I like to do it, because again, like someone's 5 stars is not my 5 stars. I rate very differently than other people do. So I just feel like it's not a good like standard. So yeah, I just really enjoy doing it this way. We have some junk mail. Just some orders, and then this is from the journal, so I like to keep that. A couple little like plushy toys my kids got. I had an order from Paper Republic, so I just kept the material from that, and then some stuff from Happy Olive Mail Club. I think this was actually the envelope, so I just saved the envelope. I always like doing this. Another kind of journal prompt of like, who are you in this moment? This is everything that was in my bag when I made this journal entry. It's very much like in the moment, like what do I have? I cannot believe it, but I did not have any diapers or wipes in my bag, which is very shocking, but I literally pulled every single thing out and I just doodled all the things that were in my bag. This is from Happy Olive Studio, which I've talked about in length before. She has a snail mail club that she sends stuff every month. And so these are some of the things from that mail. And then I just added some dots to kind of like fill up the page a little bit more. which I always like to do. This was a really cool milestone, which I was not expecting at all. I definitely put a lot more effort into my Instagram the last couple of months, and I guess it's clearly paid off because I had 99.2% growth since April, which is insane. But I was very sporadic with it, and the last few months I'm like, I'm gonna actually try a little bit. I'm gonna post consistently and engage more on that channel to see what happens. And here we go. We hit 10,000 followers, which is just really cool. During the week, we went to this really cool Hopewell ceremonial earthworks site, which is basically the original people that were in this area in Ohio, and they made all these earthworks, and so they have preserved it. And I just grabbed some stuff from the museum, like brochures and things, and I made this spread to kind of document our day visiting there. And this is like part of the map because we were here, and then I think we did this trail. We hiked around. I want to go back because I had all 3 kids and it was super, super hot, so we didn't get to explore outside too much. So I'm definitely hoping to go back and do more of this because it was really neat, and I want to have more time to check more of it out. I mentioned I went to Columbus for my friend's baby shower, so this was a spread I made with, this is wrapping paper, and this was the invitation, and then like some of the things that came in the mail for the shower. And this was a napkin from the event, and then this was like part of one of the games that we did. So I just kept those in there and made a little spread about the day. My husband is downstairs with the kids, so if you start to hear yelling and screaming, they just got back from a walk, so just ignore that. He's down there with them, and I'm almost done, so we're going to wrap it up here. I use those Sharpie creative markers, and I was just listening to an audiobook, and I wanted to do something with my hands while I was listening, so this is the product of that. Again, this is why I love this creative journal, because I could just do literally whatever I want. And this is a spread I made for Coco Daisy for their October subscription kit, which is so beautiful. I have made so many things already with everything in the subscription kit, but this was one of the ones I had to do for them to post on their social channels. So I did a little fall moments and found some stickers and used scrap paper, washi tape, and these little like quotes and things, which was really fun. I had a really good time putting this spread together. A friend of mine was in Chicago and they were going to paper and pencils. So they texted me and asked if they could get me anything. And I, of course, said yes. And so this is kind of the haul. I just Venmo'd her some money and was like, buy whatever, except the only thing I did request was these scented mile liner markers, which smells so good. And then everything else she kind of got just winging it, and it was like this little pencil stamp, some washi tape, and a few other stickers I actually didn't end up putting in here because I want to save them for something else. So I replenished some of my Unicorn Eclipse. I am like probably quarterly buy from them. I feel like every single creative journal I've done has one spread from Unicorn Eclipse in it, and this is everything that I bought, so I just kept all that in because I like to kind of keep track of that and have a place to put it. And they just have the cutest wrapping, and like all their packaging is so cute. Like this was all stuff that just kind of came in the order, so I just made a little spread out of it, and the tissue paper was the perfect background. And then these were 2 things that I ordered, and I just thought it was cool. I wanted to like showcase them, so I cut them a little bit because they're a little bit bigger than A5 size, so I trimmed them so that they would fit in here. But these are the same thing, they were just different. They're different themes, and I just think they're really cool. I want to start using these a little bit more, but I wanted to just put them in here so that I remembered everything that I ordered. When my in-laws were in town, we did a bunch of stuff. We like went out to eat, we went to a park, and my husband and I got to go on a date night, so I kept the menu from that, and then I just grabbed some menus from where we went out to eat, and this was their like vehicle permit for one of the parks that we went to. And then I like to put the date too because I wanted to remember like when this was all from. Both of these were actually inspired from videos I saw on the internet. So somebody was posting about how they make an end of month checklist, and it's just a good way to reset and like start every month fresh, so you don't get like too behind on things. And I just really love that. I actually have to go through here and finish checking all the things off because I got almost every single thing done, which I'm very proud of. But I was like, if I make it a cute spread, maybe I'll be more motivated to do it all. So digital things I wanted to get done, household things, and then some journal stuff I wanted to get done. So I just made it like a cute little spread with that. And then there's a girl who does she calls it her curriculum, which is basically like her TBR for the month, like things that she wants to read. And so these are kind of the categories that I picked of different books that I want to read. And I'm trying to get through my physical TBR list. So that's kind of like how I chose these categories. It's like books that I have on my shelf. And then underneath, I just put all the different books that I'm reading. I still have to figure out what memoir I'm going to read. And yeah, I just put them down in here. And then I think maybe once I'm done, maybe I'll pull the Post-it notes off, or maybe I'll keep them. I'm not sure. I just like wanted to make it kind of interactive and fun. So that's why I did that. This is something I used to always do. I didn't do it in the last creative journal because it was that B5 size. It was so big. I just like had such a hard time filling the pages. A5 is my tried and true, I have come to learn. So I just like to do highlights from the month. So how many books I read, which I still need to fix this. I had a typo. I put reads 11. Like I need to get the S out of there. We had a lake trip. We went on 2 hikes. I had 3 brand deals, and then I went to my friend's shower. So I like to draw little icons and then just like highlights of things. And then here is just like the media that I consumed. So again, the Receiptify, these are 2 different shows that we watched. And then this is a little recap of all of my reading from the month. So I really love doing these pages at the end of the month. I'm happy that I'm like back to doing those because I really, really enjoy those. Yeah, I am trying to do a doodle a day. This was like a challenge someone posted on Instagram. And so I wrote down the prompts, and then here's where I'm going to do all the doodles and just trying to get more doodling into my life. As you know, that's something I'm always trying to do more of. So I thought it would be fun to do like a monthly prompt challenge thing. And that's the last page. So I went through everything, and thanks for sticking around and hanging out with me while I flip through all of my pages. Hopefully some added photos and things while I was talking makes this a little more enjoyable for everybody. If there's anything you want to see from me, feel free to leave a comment, or if you have any questions, as always, I am here to help and answer. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.